Hey, it's Mopar Keith, and I'd like to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Chrysler and also the return of Tim Kuniskis as CEO. And today we have some very iconic race cars produced by Chrysler, and I'd like to discuss the fact that these are halo cars. We've got 70 AARs, we've got a 71 HEMI Cuda, and then of course we've got the modern Hellcat version of those. So what's a halo car? A halo car is a top-of-the-line performance car meant to sell other cars. Right here we've got the start of it with the E-body. It's the 1970 AAR Cuda. And there are some very unique things about this car. And this car was built for homologation of the Trans Am Racing Series. And so we can start off with some of the really obvious things are like the flat black hood. This is actually organosol paint. And we'll talk about the paint later on, but they have a very unique fiberglass hood, and underneath the hood is the unique 340 6-barrel engine. The other thing that these cars have is strobe stripes and spoilers, and that's part of the appearance package, and there's a lot of performance stuff built into the car. The next car, 1971 HEMI Cuda, and we have the iconic gills, billboard stripes, spoiler, and then the ever so popular shaker hood. So how does that transition into modern cars? Well, right here we have a really nice example of the modern Hellcat with its flat black hood and orange paint. So we'll go through and we'll show a few of the things that separate the modern car from the original 1971 HEMI Cuda. This thing is a 6.2 supercharged engine, 707 factory horsepower. We've got all kinds of heavy duty parts in here, extra cooling capacity, larger belt. Here's a supercharger right inside here. This is the air intake actually, and here's the charger down inside here. We've got the air intake right here. It goes through the air box and on into the air intake. This thing is of course fully air conditioned and everything modern about it, fuel injection. And then over here, this is like a sledgehammer. This is just a 426 4-speed HEMI Cuda, dual carburetors underneath, shaker hood, your full air intake here, no air conditioning, no extra cooling capacity except for the 26-inch radiator. And about the only option this thing has is power steering. It doesn't even have power brakes. Here's some other things that go from 1971 to, what's this, 2017? Okay, here's some other things that are a comparison from 1971 to 2017 is we've got the elastomeric rubber bumpers and we've got chin spoilers. But over here, of course, like all modern cars, the rubber bumpers are pretty much the standard piece. And then we've got the splitter or the chin spoilers or whatever you want to call it. And this one, of course, does not have the guards on the end. Some things about the brakes. These things are giant Brembo brakes, 4-piston calipers. Actually, what are they, 6-piston?
Yeah.
6-piston front calipers, giant rotors, and just really simple single piston disc brakes on the front of this. Painted mirrors, and we've got rear spoilers also. So you can tell this is a very close match to the 1970 Trans Am spoilers of either a Dodge Challenger or a Cuda AAR. Here's the go wing, but you can see the comparison on the spoilers, how these things are just super similar. So this is the way the AAR one looks, and the Dodge Challenger actually has a steeper peak to it, kind of like the 2017 over here. No flip tops on Challenger or on Cudas, so can't talk about that as a comparison. So here's the interior, 6-speed transmission, all the modern functions. This has got paddle shifters and air conditioning, tilt, cruise. Really nice. Totally script that. So
Sure.
here's 1971. There's that iconic pistol grip shifter. Bucket seats, no console. No tilt, no cruise. Fiberglass hoods, and look at the power side of everything. This is the numbers matching car, TX9 black. Here it is, 346 barrel. I think next I'll talk about the hoods and why they bow.
Sure. Oh yeah. Just look.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, so one thing that's really common with these fiberglass hoods is, first of all, they're really light, and so the springs are really lightweight springs because they don't have much to lift up. But it's what happens on Challengers and Cudas is that the hoods will bow. And see this bow right here, and there's two reasons why that happens. There is a large gasket underneath, and you can see that on this car. So this large gasket right here that presses up against this area. And then the fact that the springs are trying to lift the hood. So we'll take a look under here. Now this hood, all by itself, it actually sits in there flat. But when you combine the gasket and the pressure of the springs, you've got this actually pushing the center of the hood up. So you can see, compared to like this Cuda, how the coil spring is really large, and the one on the Challenger is actually bigger because the Challenger hood is heavier. And then you've got these really small diameter springs right here. And there is a different spring count between Dodge Challenger TA and Cuda AAR, because the Challenger hood is actually a little bit longer. So the Challenger hood gets, I think, one more coil on the spring to lift that hood up. But pretty much this is why these hoods bow so much, is because this gasket right here pushes up against this area. Here's another thing that's interesting about all cars in general and Mopars is the fender tag. And all these cars have fender tags in one way or the other. So the Trans Am cars always have an extra Trans Am tag. We'll go to this one. Same thing over here. Got the Trans Am tag fully loaded up there. We'll go over to this Cuda. And there's a fender tag on that one. Now, modern cars, they do not have the traditional fender tag, but they do have another data tag that's on the door. You can see that right there. We'll go through and show some unique parts of the cars. And the black one's my favorite. We've got some NOS parts on here. We've got an NOS stripe. You can see the Organisol finish on that stripe. It's supposed to match the hood. One thing about the Cudas is in 1970, all AAR Cudas came with the road lamps, black grille. All Trans Am cars have power disc brakes. There's the swooped up exhaust manifolds, and they all come with the 346 pack. So that's 3 two-barrel carburetors right there. This one does have the quick ratio power steering, and they all come with the power steering cooler. There's the fender tag, Group 24 battery, rally wheels. Here's another interesting fact about Trans Am cars: offset wheels, or offset tire sizes, that is. So we have E6015s in the front, and then in the back we have G6015s. So a little bit bigger tire in the back. There's our side exhaust, once again with the strobe stripe, and then the rear spoiler. And then we have more Organisol in the back here. We'll go over and look at this orange one here. Same thing, Organisol in the back, matte black spoiler, performance graphics, decal. You see this one is really bright white. It is reflective. Then we have an NOS one, just a little bit off-white. And it's hard to tell because it's 55 years old. Is it tarnished because of age, or was it intended to be that way? More side exhaust. Let's look at the interiors on these and compare them a little bit. So we have a rally gauge car, pistol grip 4-speed, no console, wood grain wheel, standard, pretty basic interior, no frills. Look at this one right here. White interior. Very few white interior cars were made. Standard gauges on that one, same steering wheel, automatic floor shift. Fiberglass hoods, they all got this unique window squirter right here. This one's more complete. This car is show ready right here. Everything, inspection marks, everything's just concourse on this car. Everything is date coded and correct. Rubber bumper, chin spoilers. Road lamps are standard on 71 Cudas. Chin spoilers are an option. This is the standard 71 Cuda thing, the gills. You could get a lot of different mirror configurations. Painted dual sport, you can get them in chrome. HEMI billboard, the largest factory decal ever made. Rear spoiler. 71 is the only year that did the by Plymouth right there. In 70 they didn't have that, and in 72-34 they put it over on the left side. You can see also on a dual exhaust, that's the N41 for dual exhaust and N42 for bright tips, so that brings them through the rear valance. AARs do not have this because of course they have side exhaust pipes. Here's the difference on the tire sizes. This is the F6015, which would be the standard tire size for a HEMI car. And you can't talk about a old muscle car from Chrysler without talking about the Pentastar. Only on the right side fender. Let's go see what this one has. Nothing there, but it's got that. And that's all you need.